Hello, everyone. This is Dr. B, Dr. Belinda Wilkerson with Steps to the Future. I haven't been with you in a couple of weeks because I took a little bit of time off. I had the opportunity to go down to DC to go to the African American Museum and just spend 2 days walking around looking at all the exhibits. That was my birthday present to myself, and also spent some time with my youngest son. But we're back here this evening. But before I bring on our guests, I just want to let people know. I know I had talked to some folks about starting a different business model with the college and career counseling that was focusing on juniors. So originally, my plan was to start that in October, but I really want to give my full attention to my seniors who have some early deadlines coming up with their applications. So I've pushed that back to after Thanksgiving. It will go up on my website as soon as it's ready, but that program is still in the works. And for people who don't know what I'm talking about, typically when I work with my students, it's individual one-on-one. Based on some conversations that I had with some students and with some parents, and also looking at the work that I did as a school counselor, I'm moving to also offering a group model where students will have access, but it will be in a group format rather than individual. The individual will still be there, but people will just have more options as to how they would like to access college and career services with me. So, with that being said, we're going to do our 30-second countdown. And then when we come back, people will just have more options. When we come back, we will have our guests on. So stay tuned. Have more options. Okay, and we are back live, and I have with me Mr. and Mrs. Raymond Johnson, Raymond and Felicia Johnson. So let me just do a quick intro for them. And of course, they're going to tell you a lot more about themselves and what they do. So Raymond and Felicia Johnson have been married for 20 years. They look like kids, don't they? And they have two beautiful children, Holly, who is a freshman at Fayetteville State University, and Raymond III. They work hard as professionals, and they find time to balance family to meet with their other needs. Raymond is a very successful track and field coach in the area with many coaching accolades and multiple championship titles in middle school, high school, and at the club level. So we definitely need to talk about that. He's also a teacher at E.E. Smith High School, and they love serving people. Felicia is the owner of Soothing Minds Counseling Services, PLLC, and they have a passion for all people. So as we get started, first of all, thank you so much for being here. I was telling the Johnsons earlier before we went live that, I love following them on social media because they have they're the Fayetteville, Huxtables. They have this family dynamic that is just so nice to see and watch, and just see all the different things and how they interact with their kids, how they find family time. And I had been meaning to ask them for a while to come on because, also they both have fantastic careers. And one of the things I did forget to mention is that Raymond is a veteran. So part of what I want to talk about is your move from the military to education, getting into track and field. And Felicia, definitely talking about the work you do, because right now, I mean, not even just right now, but probably even more so, the work that you do as a counselor is so important to people. We have a couple of comments here, so let me just see who's joining us this evening. Oh, thank you. So Michelle Carroll is with us. Good evening, Michelle. Thank you so much for joining in. And again, anybody else that wants to join in, please let us know who you are. Put your name in the chat so that we can say hello to you. If you have any questions, let us know what questions you have. So Raymond, I'm going to start with you. So you are former military. So tell me a little bit about your road to the military from high school.
Well, that was a very interesting. That's a very interesting story there. So I remember my senior year back in 1994 at Huguenot High School, and you have like those military tables. Each
Yeah.
branch is in the cafeteria and everything. But I was not interested in the military. But for some reason, the military found me at my house. And so I told my mom and dad, I said, "Hey, if Sergeant so and so come here, tell him I'm not here." And this is before Siri and all these GPS and everything.
Right.
But apparently they knew how to read a map and they found their way on my front door. And we had a conversation, but that was not my path at that particular time. And then they even told me that one of my friends, his name Kevin Jennings, said, "Hey, Kevin Jennings said if you join, he'll join." I said, "That y'all ain't gonna get me on that either." So I took my talents to Virginia State University, and was there for 4 years. So I actually my second semester at VSU, what drew me through to the Army was the ROTC program that Virginia State University offers, the Trojan Warrior Battalion. And what lured me was the second lieutenant at the time. She was, very easy on the eyes and everything. And and she, she was doing her recruiting. She did a good job recruiting. And I was like, hey, I could use an extra A on my transcript. And so I started that way. And there was a point in time where I was like, you know what, I don't have to put up with this because my parents instilled in me a good, great discipline. And so Major Smith, I remember him. He was a trooper. And from there, I haven't looked back. Although I tried to quit, but then I had a PMS, the Professor of Military Science, Lieutenant Colonel Moore. He said, "Son, don't give up. I see potential in you."
Okay.
And when somebody said that, you got to push through. And I pushed through, and I was able to retire. I received my commission at Virginia State University as a second lieutenant. And then from there, I was commissioned as a field artillery officer. Spent 14 years in the artillery world. Then I got tired of it,
Okay.
and it's transitioned to the finance community. My cousin, he retired as a 1-star general in the finance community, and then from there, the country was moving in different directions, and so anytime you have different office leaders,
Right.
things change, and so I was a major that got I didn't make the next rank, so I was able to retire as a major, and I was so proud of that. I had it was bittersweet. She could tell you all the story about my bittersweetness, but it was a plan. God had a plan for me, and I'm so happy with what I'm doing now.
And he didn't look back ever since when he retired early. It was just a blessing in disguise, and he hadn't looked back. He could have had plenty of jobs, could have went back into the military, but he was like, no, he liked doing what he's doing, teaching.
But I told her, I said, she supported me for the time we was married, when we was in the military, and I said I wanted to support her and her business and her dreams because she did such a great job, for me.
Okay. Well, first of all, thank you for your service because we definitely appreciate that. And you have a couple of folks on who I think want to say a quick hello. Do you know these folks?
Hey, Mom.
Hello. And there's another person that's on.
Hey, Dad.
So
you rarely see him on Facebook.
So thank you so much, folks, for joining in. And thank you so much for instilling the values and character that you did into your son, because now we get to benefit from all of that. So you went so Felicia, tell us a little bit about your story after high school and your educational.
Okay, my story. After high school, I went to Fort Valley State University. I always say the Fort Valley State University. It's in Fort Valley, Georgia. It's home of the Bluebird buses. So every time I see the yellow bus in North Carolina, I'm thinking, okay, that's Fort Valley. That's where,
the white bus.
Or they're the white activity bus here in North Carolina. But I majored in social work, and I didn't know a social worker growing up. I never met a social worker before. So when I majored in it, I didn't really know exactly what it was, but I knew they said I was supposed to help. It's in the helping field. I said, okay, I can do that. That's what I like to do. But then I ended up going to, graduate there and ended up going to University of Georgia and getting my master's in social work.
Okay.
So I was able to even learn more and do internships in both at my BSW and in my master's degree, where I was able to get hands-on experience working with children and families.
So tell me a little bit about the internships, because I always talk to my students about the importance of, once they go to college, to try to take advantage of everything that a college offers you, and especially internships, because again, you can't really beat that hands-on experience that you get. So tell us a little bit about some of the internships that you did.
I did one with the Georgia Department of Labor. So that was a summer internship, and that was like a really nice one where I was helping with unemployment and helping people find jobs. And so that was very eye-opening to me, because I was new. I was just getting out of 1920 and just getting to learn, okay, how do you find a job? How you write resumes? And I was actually helping other people write their resumes. And it was a paid internship, so I was all for it. And it paid pretty well for that time. But to be a part of to graduate in the field of social work for your bachelor's degree and your master's degree is a requirement that you do for undergrad. You have to do 2 internships, and also for your master's degree, you have to do 2 internships. So one I did was working in the school system. So I worked with a school social worker. And then another one, I worked in the community at a technical school. So it basically was teaching people how to life skills, teaching adults life skills, teaching them how to manage a budget, how to make appointments, just different life skills that we would teach them. Nutrition, how to go grocery shopping, and that was very helpful too. And then I also did another internship working at the mental health. It was a mental health group home.
Okay.
And that's when we was dating. So that was, he'll come pick me up from work or meet me for lunch. And, that would be a different experience for him. Or we'll be out and about and I'll see people. He people wave at me, and he learned quick, not ask no questions. Just to go with it.
Okay.
And she motivated me, because when she started her master's at University of Georgia, I ended up going to Korea for a stint over there, and I was able to start my master's at human relations through the University of Oklahoma.
Okay.
And so it was a very rigorous program where they flew instructors out monthly over there to teach us over there. So I was able to complete like 15 hours when I was in Korea.
Oh, that's great.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you were stationed in Korea?
Yes.
Okay. And then we're able to keep your education going then. So part of that is so important, because living here in Fayetteville, and this is, now that I live here, this is my first time living in a military town. So I've had to learn a lot about the life of being a military family. I mean, I still don't know. I don't know, because I think you just have to experience it. So even, I love how you just talked about how they helped you with getting your education, even though you were stationed in another country, you were still able to continue your education. So that's really good.
Yeah, we had the Army had what you call the TA program, tuition assistance, and so everyone, some take advantage of it, some don't. I was one that took advantage.
Yes.
So go for it. Yeah. And so
that is so important. That is so important, to take advantage of whatever opportunities are put in front of you.
That's right.
Yeah. So
I was gonna say they had the same. Well, they used to have the same program for the spouses too. So the spouses were able to go to school and actually get tuitions be paid for.
Oh, that's good. I know now that still with GI benefits and stuff, that you can use it for dependents and what have you, depending upon how much has been used.
Yeah.
But again, it's important to know what benefits are available to you and to use them. So you have another admirer here that um, just wants to share their thoughts. They're
Hey,
happy.
Coach.
Yeah, happy to see you here. So again, you've got some fans out there, so that's really good to see. So Raymond, when you left the military and were moving towards another career, did some work in financial area for a while, how did you move into teaching?
Well, that's another story there. I'm glad we have these conversations. So what happened was, like, once I retired, I told my wife, I say, I need at least a year just to decompress, and so I retired like February of 2016. In February 2016, then Holly had started the 6th grade. That was August of 2016. And so Felicia, she started seeing me, just do too much chilling. And so I said, well, let me just start, I said, Felicia, I wonder if the track team at Grays Creek need a volunteer to help out the coach. So I talked to the athletic director at the time, Mr. Rodney Jackson, and he said, Coach, and he said, Mr. Johnson, we need a coach over here. I said, oh, wow. So I was, I always thank Mr. Jackson because he was, one that started me into Cumberland County coaching track and field.
Okay.
And then as far as like going into track, it was Mr. Demetria Davis. And
oh, yes.
So they introduced us to the Flyers. But far as, that transition, it started with her. Because she said, you know what? You ain't gonna be around this house. That's why I'm paying the house. I'm good. So what happened was I ended up being I ended up being a permanent sub at Grace Creek Middle School. Okay. And that went very well. And it was like, hey, have you ever thought about teaching? And I like, well, both my parents were educators. And it's in the blood. My aunts, educators, uncle, I come from a family of educators. And so it just came something that when I got in the classroom, it just came, and it was natural. The leadership that I had from the military and just bounced into this classroom. The goal is, being on a platform of teaching is just about, speaking from a platform of love, tough love, and understanding where kids are coming from and just meaning reaching where they are. And so as I'm doing that, I go in the room, it's all about that light. It's just the beams. I'm like, man, I like talking to people, and it just radiates me even more just to do more for them. And so the kids, grade school is very diverse, school. And I'm saying I taught kids from all walks of life. Even when I coach, I had parents that didn't see the world that we saw it. However, they was like, hey, thank you for coaching my son because he never been on a team before, but you make it feel like home. And so, like I said, I blame her. That's why I'm teaching now, because she said, she took me about my chin, like, you better work somewhere.
I said, well, since you spent all this time there, you might as well get a paycheck there,
Oh, I did a lot of volunteering.
So
that is so true. So we actually have someone else who chiming in. So Michelle Carroll is saying her master's is from the University of Oklahoma. Same way.
Sooner. Hey.
Yes, stationed in Okinawa. So again, Michelle, thank you for your service. We definitely appreciate that. Appreciate that.
That's a great program. Dr. Henderson, he really started that human relations program at University of Oklahoma. Now, when I was taught by him, he was like in his mid 80s. So, wow. And that was like in 2000. Oh, let me see, 2000. Actually, 2010. No, 2008 when I went over to OU, because I started the program in 2003. Then I had to take a halt because I got deployed when I went to Fort Campbell. So it was a 5-year gap. And when I went to Fort McPherson in Atlanta, Georgia, I was able to complete my degree. So I was able to go to OU to do some other coursework, and that's where I actually met Dr. Henderson in person. Okay. So he's a walking encyclopedia.
Okay. So Michelle's saying she was 1998.
Cool.
when she had,
Yeah,
okay.
boomer sooner.
Yeah. And we also have this when you were talking about education in your family, comment from your dad. Thank you, Mr. Johnson, for that. We definitely appreciate it. So you're doing a permanent sub at Grace Creek. How did you move from the next level from a permanent sub to a certified teacher?
Oh, whew. So I tell you, I had plenty of mentors at Grace Creek Middle School. Miss Blanding, Amina Blanding, Tashika Smith. I mean, Miss Lomas, Miss Hall. But just to name a few, that was like my road dogs over there. But I'm telling you, Miss Blandon, she really inspired me. Oh, and Miss House, can't forget my Miss House because she was my mentor, my mentor.
She's teacher of the year
And she
too.
was teacher of the year. But
Okay.
all of them had, it takes a village, and all of them had something, with, to make Coach Johnson who he is today.
Okay.
And so at Grace Creek, like I said, they looked out for me. But just the rigor behind it, because being a beginning teacher, it comes with, like I said, I didn't have a degree in education. I had a degree in I had a bachelor's in accounting, and so if I wanted to be a science teacher or a math teacher, I had to go back to school and retake class. I don't have time for that. So there happened to be like a career technical education position available for me in Word, PowerPoint, Excel, and I was very strong in those areas because that's what I used when I was in the military. So I was able to move from a sub position to a part-time teacher.
Okay.
While I was enrolled at North Carolina State in their lateral entry program.
Okay.
And so I went through that program and all the other BT, the inductions, induction of BT, this and that. It was a lot. Classroom management, everything.
So that's important for people to know, because a lot of times people get stuck on going right from high school to college to their career. So you just shown people there's another pathway to getting to a career that you want. And North Carolina happens to have that, that lateral entry program that you were able to take part in and become a teacher. And for me, I mean, we need Black males in the classroom so bad.
And let me tell you about this. When I was at the middle school, I could count on one hand how many Black males were in that school.
Yes.
As far as being a teacher.
Right.
And that's one thing I used to come back home and tell Felicia all the time. I said, Felicia, our young men at times they need more. They need to see us more. Because some don't, have a father, in their life. And it's sad, but hey, Coach Johnson got a million of, sons and daughters. Besides my two, Grace Creek East, and wherever I go, they're like, Coach, now I got a newer. They call me Pops.
Oh my goodness. You're too young to be called Pops.
Yeah, but it's crazy because I have a young man out in Showan University. He called. I ain't gonna give a name, but he called me Pops. So I'm just giving out, university kids are going to now, and they just call me Pops now.
Okay. Comments here.
Oh, Queena. Hey, Queena.
Yes. And someone, your mom has a comment here.
Oh yeah. Now, see, Mom, she get all the praise, and my dad, because I'm telling you, Mom is like teacher of the year.
Okay.
I think it was 1994. My dad, he was a principal, and they used to call him like Joe Clark.
Oh, okay. Okay. So when you said it was in your blood, it is really in your blood.
It is.
It is really in your blood. So Felicia, tell us about your route to from social work to being a business owner.
It's a long road. It's a long road. I mean, it's a long road. And so when you mentioned how you, I think when people think of social work, they only think of working at DSS. And I appreciate and I value the social workers that do work at DSS, because that was my job too. They are so, so important. They're like the baseline of all social work. And it's almost like I tell new social workers coming into the field, because they try to like not go there. Oh, I don't want to work at DSS. I don't want to work there. I like, you need to work there. You, everything that have to do with social work pretty much starts there, and you can just build on that. But to be a clinical license, that's not easy.
Mm.
That's not an easy road, because like right now I mentor other clinical social workers that are in the process of getting fully licensed. So I meet with them one weekly and mentor them, and they're like, man, Miss Felicia, no one told me about this in grad school. I feel like bamboozled. I feel like they didn't tell me everything.
Right.
But basically, being a military spouse, that add another layer to it, because to become a clinical, you have to earn so many supervision hours
Yes.
and work hours. But when you if you move in, like you can get almost there, then you move into a different location, a different state, you got to restart. So I think I restarted 3 times.
You did.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Wow.
3 times.
Yeah.
But it's okay, because it's all, everything is just experiences and just learning from different positions, different families, and different clients that I meet with. So, but I finally got fully licensed. I had great mentorships. I guess I'll throw up mine's. Tanisha James and Nicole Johnson. They're great clinicians of color here in the area. That's another thing, is there's not a lot of clinicians of color across the board. Fayetteville, you might have a little bit more, just because I think Fayetteville State has an MSW program.
Mm-hmm.
So that allows or provides more clinicians of color. But any place else is really, really hard to find them. And it's also important to have people that look like you to represent you.
Right.
So I have lots of clients that like, I'm just looking for a clinician of color. I started a group here. It's a Facebook group. It's kind of like a private group, but it's called Sisters in Counseling, where basically I connect all the other clinicians of color locally. We connect together. Like if there's a referral, I'll say, if I can't take the client, I will refer them out to another clinician of color. So we'll know who we are and how to get a who, and we'll also know who specialized in what, because each clinician specialized in something different.
That's right.
Okay.
So, but
So that's called Sisters in Counseling.
it's called
Okay.
Sister in Counseling.
That's wonderful. That is so wonderful, because too many times we hear about folks not collaborating and not sharing resources and what have you. And the fact that you put this together and you're working on the strengths of everyone in the group, and ensuring, and by referring out, you're ensuring that people who do need help are getting help from the person who's best suited to help them. And that in itself is such a service. It's such a service to everyone, because we're as a culture, as Black folks, we have the stigma about mental health counseling, about any type of counseling. So being able to know that there's a group of people who recognize that, and who recognize the importance of making sure that they're getting folks referred to the proper person is definitely something that I fully appreciate. So as you're doing your work, what are some of the issues that you see coming up now in your counseling work?
I see a lot of, doing my work now. At one point it was the COVID. During COVID, it was really, really hard to find a clinician, because a lot of people were having was really struggling with being isolated. During that time, if you had any depression, anxieties, and when you're working, it's easy to cover it up, because you at somebody's job from maybe 8 to 6 o'clock, so it's a little bit easier. But now you at home, you isolated, you realize that you don't have a lot of social networks. And when you at home, I tell everybody, those walls and those thoughts start to tell you things that are not always necessarily true.
Sure.
And you just keep on going down that rabbit hole. So now that people are going back to work, you know, they're getting better, but we saw a lot of people who realized before there was a stigma, but COVID hit. They were seeing celebrities go to therapy. You know, their friends on Facebook were going to therapy, so it almost made it look easy. And then we had the teletherapy now, so it's easy. People can do therapy in the car. They can do it on their lunch break. They don't have to worry about putting time in to you know, take away and travel like 30 or 40 minutes to an office. So that's one of the reasons why more people are accessing therapy, along with different companies too. They always provided EAP services, but you have companies like Starbucks. They provide 12 sessions to clients. And from my understanding, Starbucks is a really good place. They have really good benefits. I'm learning every day about their benefits that they offer at Starbucks. So we see that. I get a lot of people still have feelings about George Floyd, and not necessarily about George Floyd, but just the aftermath of it. You know, it brought up different the relationships with people around them, with their coworkers. That was able to bring the light of how other people treat them in the past, and before they was able to they probably felt it, but now they really, really felt it. And a lot of and then a lot of people that are interracial, you know, that's been a theme in therapy too, because it's like, okay, I might relate with this. You know, I might relate with more of you know, my mom might be Caucasian, and I haven't really talked to my dad before, but just trying to figure out who they are, just get a greater understanding of who they are, their role in life, and their identity. And that's hard because people think it's easy and it should come natural, but that's not always the case. And so that's more of issues that are coming up. I also specialize in parenting.
Oh, okay.
So apparent stress came up, especially during and even now with kids going back to school. They've been out for like 2 years, so some kids have anxieties or don't want to go back to school. I get a lot of parents. They realize, when the kids were at home, they're like, man, my kid really do have some behavior issues, some symptoms that we need to work on, because when they're at school, it's kind of easier to hide because they're not with the kid 24/7.
Right.
So I do a lot of parent coaching too.
Okay, that's really good. That's really good. You have an admirer here. I just want to put up this comment. So again, you've got lots of fans out there, and just this comment. Thank you so much, Mrs. Cummings Johnson. I appreciate you chiming in. This is great. So this is another piece of this. So in addition to the work that you do, people see it, people appreciate it, people understand the difference that you're making in this world. You know, it's so important that all of us have a purpose. And both of you seem to have found your place, found your niche, found your purpose, and you're shining a light on things that people need to know about, but you're also doing it in a way that is so beneficial to folks. I mean, like I told you, I just, I'll see you guys around town every now and then, or following you on Facebook. And there's sometimes I just read, or I see pictures of your family or at a track event or something. And I'm just like, yeah, that's so cool. I love seeing these folks, because it's always so upbeat. Now I'm sure you have your regular family up and down things, but you just show that family togetherness in all that you do, and you're proud of it. And I love seeing that.
Yeah, thank you so much. Me and Felicia, we was talking this morning. I said, I said our marriage reminds me of the tip of the iceberg. You know, everybody see the tip of the iceberg. They don't know what goes underneath to make that iceberg stay like it is.
That's true.
You
That
know,
is so
You don't
true.
see the morning rush trying to get out the house and
I got
Yeah.
stories for that too, because you know, RJ is now in middle school, so the things he do, I try to get him, and I do the exact same thing. Oh wow, I'm like, what in the world? I guess it's
I know.
crazy.
So both of your children are in track. So tell me, did that come about naturally from you being a track coach, and how did they feel about it? But from what I see on that iceberg pot that I see, um, you know, they seem to be enjoying it. So tell me a little bit about getting them involved in track and field.
I think it's all a process about everything. So we little Holly, we introduced her to gymnastics. We introduced her to cheerleading. She was really good. She was pretty good at track. So we decided I said, look, I want the kids to be busy in something, so they can be really busy and not get distracted with other things. So I just didn't think track was gonna be that busy. I mean, I was thinking about something like once a week or something, but I realized track is like really, really busy. And Holly said, man, y'all really kept me busy throughout the years, but we always we always tell her like academics too, you know, with all of them. It was like tracking academics is very important. But at first I think she liked it, but just with all kids doing the sports, they get like anxieties, you know, I call it performance anxiety. So like her first 2 track meets, she cried the whole way there. I was like, oh man, maybe we should stop. But Ray's just like, no, we're gonna keep on going.
Yeah.
So now she actually loves it. She at one point when she got to 9th grade, she was like, I want to do track at the next level. And she worked really hard, and like the last 4 years, you know, Holly will and Ray J she will leave at home at 7:00 a.m. and really will not come home, will not walk into the doors until 9:30 p.m. And that's like Monday through Friday sometimes. Yeah, Monday through Fridays.
Yeah. And just to add on to Felicia, I mean, we have some amazing friends and coaches along the way. You know, going back to what Felicia was saying, Holly's a jump coach. I mean, that's he sacrificed his time.
Yeah.
And so he saw that the level of commitment that Holly and also the parent was given. And so he owned his own car shop. So he was really taking out time from his business to come and help our daughter get, and not just our daughter, but other kids as well. And it'd be cold nights and everything. Yeah. And so you see the tip of the iceberg, the things underneath, people don't see. And I tell kids all the time, if you want to be great, and one of the coaches I follow a lot is Coach Dion Prime Sanders.
Oh yeah,
he has a lot of motivation stuff. But if you want to be serious about something, if you want to be great, you got to be serious about everything you do. I mean, nutrition, you know, rest, academics, the whole 9 yards. You just can't wake up and say, I'm gonna just do this. Because I'm telling you, when Holly started at age 10, we want to keep it fun. And so from the ages like 6 to 13 years old, about let kids have fun. You know, you don't, as a parent, I would never say, oh, you would go out here, Let them have fun. Don't burn them out. And then as she progressed, and as she, you know, because as Holly got older, she started talking to mom more, you know, and you know, she taught me, you know, Dad, but she, you know, got to have them, you know, the mother to daughter talks, and it was very, you know, that's how I married my lady, she's the prince, the queen, so the princess and the queen. So, but like I said, just you know, as you know, just those parents that have children that are athletes. Parents gotta be supportive. Don't overdo it with your child. Like even with RJ, everybody said, "Well, RJ, this," you know, because balancing, you know, 2 kids that run track. You know, Holly, you know, she was a late bloomer. You know, Holly inspired Raymond to do track, and then Raymond just like, "Wow, I'm here. This is me," you know. And so, and you can't treat them the same way. It's no book on it.
Right.
It's no book on it. And so they inspire each other. We build each other up. they're each other biggest fan. And then, some days, if they have a good day, I don't even talk about track.
Mm.
Let's go to Smoothie King. Let's get some yogurt from what's that place that used to be out there in Jackbury? I forget the name, but get yogurt or whatever.
Oh,
just
Right.
go, just do something different. Go check out a movie or something, but let's not focus on track.
And I'll be like, I tell them, I said, well, I say, you make good grades. You okay? You gonna get a scholarship, so
Yeah.
I said you're gonna be okay. So
Yeah, and based on just adding on to that, academics, and I'm telling you, and everybody's not going to be a straight A student
Mhm.
or AB, but I'm telling you, just put forth the effort and do your homework early, because there's a lot of scholarships out there, and
Yes.
no kid should not be paying for school, because it's so many resources out there for kids to go to school for free. But if you wait to the last minute, you're gonna be paying. Then you're gonna have all these loans and debts and stuff that oh Lord.
Yeah.
yeah, we really we started her like junior year, like summer junior year. We kind of said, okay, start working on some essays. So get comfortable with doing those little essays. So when scholarships come up, it won't be hard. You like, oh, I have this essay right here, or I have some thoughts together, so you can just just knock them out.
And I like what now I'm at E. Smith and at the high school. I love what our counselors are doing over there.
Yeah.
We have the what's the guy name? The FAFSA. I call him Mr. G. Mr. G. He with a trio. I love the trio program, and so he walked us through FAFSA and everything.
Okay.
And parents, I don't care how much money you make or how much you don't make. Have your kids do that FAFSA. You just don't know.
Yes, you are preaching to the choir over here. This is what I do all the time, and I love what you said about starting early and that it's about academics, because too many times I'll see someone with a young person who is talented athletically, and they will focus more on the athletic talent than the academic part. And your talent will get you so far. I always tell kids, when you're talking to an athletic coach at a college, they can promise you the world, but if that admissions office says no, it's no.
Yeah.
So you've got to come with the whole package. So I love what you said about, and also starting early. Sometimes a lot of times I see folks that aren't thinking about post-secondary education until senior year. It's not that it's too late, but what it does is it decreases your options. You don't know about other things that are out there. Somebody says, oh, maybe you should have taken this class. Well, now you're in your senior year, so you can't take that class.
Right.
So it's so important. I love also what you said about not making that athletic part of them the focus all the time, allowing downtime, allowing time just to be. Because sometimes kids, we know how our kids are. They just take everything on, and it becomes like a job, and they get down on themselves if they're not performing how they think they should perform, and they're comparing themselves to other people, or somebody else is in their ear telling them what they should be doing. So having that strong family support in whatever they do choose to do that's positive and leading them in the right direction is so important. So I love what you're doing. I love what both of you just said about that, because it's crucial to our kids. It's crucial to our kids. So with RJ, so how far do you think he's gonna go in track? Because he's seen as he started a little bit there.
He loves it.
Okay.
He loves it.
He got the passion for it.
He has the passion for it. I mean, this young man, not only does he do track, and we keep him well balanced too, but he does. He did football one time. How football go with moms. Don't hit my baby.
Yeah, I know.
He did cross country. He actually this past summer we worked with a boxing trainer. To build some more anaerobic activity, just do some different things. Him and his sister they start playing golf as well. And so Holly was her senior year. Holly was a member of the E. Smith golf team.
Okay.
You know, so she did golf, and that inspired the whole family to go out to Fort Bragg course and do some golfing. You
Okay.
know, and so that's another, you know, relaxation, because Holly always tell her, he said, Dad, golf is a humbling sport.
Yeah, she said it all the time.
You can swing and swing, swing. If you don't keep that eye on the ball, it's gonna stay there.
Yeah.
So, but
So
yeah, but RJ, like I said, the passion, the fire, you know, his passion and that yearning, desire to continue on. I just feed the hunger, and then you know that the goal is he said, Dad, my goal is to be in the Olympics, but run in the 1500. Because you don't see too many American
yeah.
African American men running in the 1500.
You don't.
Not at all. Or 800. And you have some, like, back in the day had Johnny Gray, those guys, but you don't really see that to this day. And
Right.
so one day he was outside running. He said, Dad, I think I'm a king running an inside American body. He said it.
I love it. So who knows? Maybe one day we will see him in the Olympics.
Yeah.
I remember going to the Olympics in Atlanta when Michael Johnson was running.
Oh, yeah.
And I had tickets for that event and got to see him win that medal.
That's
That
an experience.
Yes.
that was absolutely amazing. And here's the funny thing. The tickets that I was getting weren't for the sports that I wanted to see. And then a friend of mine at home said, well, we got tickets for this track and field stuff, and we don't really want to see it. I said, are you kidding?
Oh, wow.
Can we switch tickets? She said, yeah. I said, we had like the best seats. We saw him just as he was coming in the turn. And you saw those gold shoes flashing by everybody. It was amazing. I love track and field. I did a little bit of track in high school. I wasn't, I did just enough to get by and stay on the team. So I've always loved track and field because it's such a, it's an individual sport and it's a team sport.
It is.
And it just teaches so much. And it's the sport. And like with you folks, it's a sport that a family can do together.
Yeah. And speaking of team, and I gotta give a big shout out to my girls 4x4 state champions. Yes. And then also my young man, Mr. Jones, that was the high jump champ. But speaking of team, Carlin, he was an individual who did the high jump and won an indoor title. Mm-hmm. But then the young ladies, each individual, those 4 young ladies, they came together as a team and, put their first, state title on the board in a long time. I think the last time E. Smith had a state title champion, for track was like back in 2009. Wow. And so it was time. And so it was just a blessing because we thought, going in, I said, what, ladies, I think we got an opportunity to win our first state title since 1981. Wow. And that's been like 40 years, right? And so it was a hot day. We contested in 7 events, but on that day, it just, mentally, that sun was draining. It was drained full, and it drained everybody out. But I said, hey, ladies, I said, this down to the last event. I need y'all to come through here. Y'all been ranked in the top 3 throughout the whole year. I need you to do this. And everyone said, yes, coach. And they went out there and they performed. And I'm like, so thankful for them. One of the young ladies' mother is following, Miss Tillman. But I'll tell you, it's just amazing what young kids can do when you challenge them.
Yes. And that's the thing. It's having high expectations for them, not impossible expectations, high expectations, and helping them along the way so that when something doesn't go right, say, okay, so it didn't work this time. What do we need to do? Or what do you need to do differently to get to that next spot? So it's that constant coaching and being, inspirational about it. Because to me, a team is a family.
That's right.
A team is another family. So maybe that's why they call you pops. But again, having that, it's great having a teacher that's looking out for you. But our kids, when I was, at one point I was a social studies teacher and then I was a high school counselor, but it's so important. It was so important to me as a high school counselor to see who my kids were outside of the classroom. So I feel love going to, if they were on if they were on a sports team, I love going to their events. If they were on some other kind of team, and they would be so elated that you took time out of your day to come to their game.
Oh
And
yeah. Absolutely.
so again, that it takes a village to raise a child. Them getting the opportunity just to see the people in their corner, and just having that constant inspiration, that constant support, that constant encouragement, not just for the athletic part, but for the academic part. So you were truly working with student athletes.
That's right. And I just got to share, speaking of village, even as a coach, I can't do it all by myself. So I have a team of coaches
Yes.
that impart, their knowledge and wisdom to our athletes, to a team of teachers at our amazing school at East Hill High School, Ezekiel Ezra, 1800, the strong way. The mighty Golden Bulls. I just love that environment. And I'm telling you, it's just amazing. It's amazing feeling, amazing people. Amazing leaders. I can't name everybody because I don't want to. I just amazing leaders. It's a strong village. So I can tell you.
And that's so important.
I was gonna say I always compare track to like the game of life, and I tell my kids this all the time. I say every time I see them at that start line, it makes me proud, because sometimes they probably didn't want to be at their start line. Maybe the race before that might not been the best race. Maybe something happened. Maybe it's a fall, like Holly first track meet.
That's right.
She her very first track meet she ran. She was 10 years old. She ran the 100. The gun went off, and she was almost there, and she fell. And it was like everybody in the stage was like, "Ooh." But that's okay. I told them, I said, "Y'all better cheer for my baby. You better cheer for my baby." And so Holly got back up with her little bandage and blood running down her legs. And she could have stopped then, but she got prepared for her next race, and she was at the start line again. And that's almost about life. And I tell them all the time, every time there are going to be times where you might not always make all A's.
Right.
You might not always make a SAT. I don't know what 26 on the ACT. I can't 36 on A. You might not always get that. But I said, look, that's not, just restart. Go back to the start line and try again. So like if you don't get the goal that you want, don't let it stop you. Just restart again. So I tell her all the time. I was like, every time I see y'all at the start line, I tell Holly and Raymond, you just make me proud.
That's right.
I love that.
That's right.
I love that analogy. That is so good.
And they make us go to the start line.
Yeah. They make us go to the start line.
So you uplift and encourage each other all around. We learn from our kids. We learn from our kids. That's so important. My children are grown. I always call them my boys, but they get mad. They go, "Mom, we're grown men." I said, "I know."
It's okay.
They'll always be my babies, whether you like it or not. But I learn from them, and I love the relationship that I have with them. It's nice having a relationship with your adult kids. It really is.
Yeah.
And I hear now in their conversations, I said, "Oh, they were listening to me when I didn't think they were listening to me." So obviously something took hold, and they were paying attention. So again, that's what you two are doing. You're building, you're creating this legacy, not just within your home, but in the work that you do, and also in the community. And that is so important, because we need that. We really need that to keep people uplifted and keep us moving forward. Because life is hard. Life is hard. So sometimes we need that encouragement, that inspiration, and all of that that keeps us going. And Miss Halstead agrees. We learn from our kids.
That's right.
So true. So one of the things I always like to do, because I'm a firm believer in people reading. That's my, if if I can't do anything else, I've got to have a book. I've got to read. I have to read every day. That's like breathing air for me, even if I only get to read for 10 minutes. So, and I asked you folks to recommend a book. So, Felicia, you recommended a book that I'd like to share with people. So this is the book you recommended. I Wear a White Coat: From Tribulation to Triumph, The Authentic Truth of the Black Doctor's Journey by Erica Heilich. And there were a couple of other authors also. So just tell us a little bit about the book and why you thought it might be important.
This book, the author, graduated from my university, Fort Valley State University. She's actually my sorority sister, Zeta Phi Beta sorority.
Yeah.
But in the process of helping Holly figure out what she would like to major in, I have her to research like different fields of studies. And so during that same time, Dr. Heilich, she was advertising her book, and Holly said she wanted to do pharmacy. I was like, oh yeah, Dr. Heilich, she's a pharmacy. And in that book, she has like each chapter has a different person of color that's in the medical field. So some of them are like pharmacists, some of them are like dentists, others are even neurosurgeons. There's like different people that tells their journey, how they got to where they are, their story, their life, how they got their white coat. And their stories, it's not always so easy. It wasn't like a lot of stories, not like, oh, I just graduated and just got a white coat. A lot of them had different stories, different journeys. So that's why I thought that book was very important.
I love that. So now you've just added another book to my to-read list, because one of the things I like about this particular book, from what you told us about it, again, it's showing students people that look like them in different parts of the medical field. And it's so important, because I'm a firm believer that representation matters. And when students don't see people that look like them in particular fields, they may not know that it's available to them. I grew up with, a single mom who did not graduate from high school. So I didn't really have a lot of role models as far as different types of work. But for me, school was always a comfort place. It was always a place where I found myself. I love being in school. So I just naturally gravitated towards becoming a teacher, because it was such a good place for me. But it wasn't until I was in the 7th grade that I had a Black teacher. So I thought about that. I was talking about that with a colleague who we used to teach at the same high school, and we both taught history. And he was the Black male teacher in the school, and I was the Black female teacher in the school. And this is in Rhode Island, so you don't have a lot of Black folks in the classroom. And we had that conversation because there were Black students in the school, a pretty decent number. But as far as on the faculty, it was he and I. And then, I went on, became a school counselor. And when I retired from school counseling at that school in 2008, so here we are, 2022, they have not had another Black counselor since I left.
Oh,
wow.
So I'm thinking like, okay, I know there are Black counselors in Rhode Island. Like, what's going on here? So again, it's just, that's one of the reasons I love this book, because it's about showing students, because everybody may not be the doctor, but you might be the dentist, or you might be something else. There's multiple ways that you can go into the healthcare field. So Felicia, I'm going to blame you for this. now I've got to buy another book. And people know that I'm a book addict. I have a hard time saying no to a book. And this one fits like right in with that whole career thing. So probably the next time you see me, this book will be on my shelf. I'll definitely have this book. And while we're still talking, I just want to remind people. So this is Felicia's business, Soothing Minds Counseling Services. This is her website. So if anyone out there is feeling the need for services, or you want to find out more information about her services, please reach out to her company. You've had an opportunity here to learn a little bit about her, so that should help you a little bit in making the decision. So again, definitely reach out, because we know that this, the work that you do, Felicia, is so important. It's so important because our mental health is just as important as our physical health.
That's right.
And our spiritual health. So it's so important that we break that stigma and understand that talking about whatever's on your mind is a sign of strength and not a sign of weakness. And you give people the opportunity to do that every day. So I certainly thank you for that. And Raymond, as a former middle and high school social study teacher and as a high school counselor, I thank you, because teaching is, you have to have a passion for teaching to do
You
it.
really do.
Yeah.
You really do.
Not walk into a school and not like young people and be a teacher. I used to work with people. I used to say, tell me why you're a teacher again, because you don't like kids. You should not be here. You should be doing something else, because it's obviously you don't like kids. You really have to, because I always tell people, parents don't keep the good kids at home. They send us whoever lives in that house. So whoever walks in the door that day, that's who you have.
Yeah.
That's who you have. And it's our job. And sometimes as a teacher, you're the only one that may be in their corner.
That's true.
You may be the only one that's in their corner. So it's so important that we treat, I mean, my thing was I needed to treat every child the way I wanted somebody to treat my children.
That's right.
And it's so good. So we have a question here, Felicia. Someone wants to know if you counsel children under 12.
I started age 2.5.
Oh, okay. So Ms. Halstead, there's your answer to that question. So hopefully, you might reach out, and we'll see what's happened. Oh, look at this. I love this comment. Thank you so much. Ray, your mom is so sweet. That is so good. And Michelle is with us and agreeing, like, yes, it's important to keep that mental health going, and also to definitely work with our students on all levels, because it's what's so cool, because Ray, you're in the classroom, you're on the track field. Felicia, you're helping them with their mental health. So you're looking at the whole child. So your kids are so lucky, because they have parents who have the skills, have the knowledge in order to help them be the best that they can be.
Absolutely. This day and age, you need everything.
Yes.
You need everything.
Yeah.
You sure do. You sure do. So again, I thank you two so much. This has been fun. And as I said, for the longest time, I kept saying, I need to invite the Johnsons. And then things were getting crazy. But then when I was at the football game at E.E. Smith a couple of weeks ago and saw you there, Raymond, I said, let me do this, put this on my calendar right now so I don't forget to do it. Again, I thank you both for your time. I thank you both for the words of wisdom that you shared. I'm sure there are parents that are watching this now, or parents that may watch this on the replay, who will be able to use some of the gems that you shared and incorporate them into their own lives. And for people out there that in the local area, well, we do telehealth, so you don't have to be local, that need to have a conversation. You have Felicia's information there, and you can go on her website and check out her times, her hours of availability and services and what have you. But again, thank you so much, Johnsons, for being here. And what last words of advice would you like to give to folks?
Well, for me, my mom always told me, Clayfo, keep living and you find out.
Oh, okay. I like that.
I agree.
Okay. Okay. So everyone, thank you so much to the people who joined in to this conversation this evening. I certainly appreciate that. You can always share out this conversation to other folks that need to see it. So it will be, it stays live on my Facebook page. and it's also on my YouTube channel. We will have someone, my virtual assistant, who is wonderful, a former student of mine. She does my show notes for me, so she'll write up the show notes, and we'll have additional information in the show notes for you. So again, Mr. and Mrs. Johnson, thank you so much for being here, for sharing your wisdom. And yep, mom's got the last word. Keep living and you will find out. That's good. Oh, so, okay, there's one more comment I want to put in here.
Oh.
Okay, so
Yeah,
that's
definitely. That's my mom. My mom taught Miss Loretta Halstead when she was in the 9th grade.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
See, this is what's so important about teaching. This is what's so important about teaching. And we have
Come on. That's my boy Tony. That's my other brother. We graduated from Virginia State University together.
Okay, great.
He served in the Navy.
Okay, thank you, Miss Carol, for joining in. We definitely appreciate that. And I'm gonna let your mom get the last word in here. Okay, so thank you so much, folks, for being here. Folks, join me next week for another College and Career Conversations with Dr. B. It may be a guest, or it may be me just letting kids know some of the things they need to keep doing to prepare for college, because we've got to make sure that we're ready for life and can start early. Again, don't wait till senior year. Let's get this going. Yeah. So thank you, everyone, and thank you too. And you guys just stay on for a few minutes while I stop this. Folks, see you next week. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.